All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Those that are here bright and early, welcome back to the channel. Corbs here, and we're bringing you the semi-finals and the finals for the first, let's say, casual Kult Age of Empires 4 1v1 tournament that's been going on over the last week or two since the game was released. Hello, sweetest little Jigglypuff. Howdy. How you going, Mac Apps? I see you, the man. I'll bring you in a second. So, just a heads up, everybody. Age of Empires 4 came out on PC about 2-3 weeks ago. It's flown by now. It's been great. It's on Xbox, PC, Game Pass, if that makes sense. So if you've got Ultimate Game Pass, it's available right now for free on the PC. Part of that. It's really great. The campaign's great. Multiplayer's great. It feels like 2 mixed with modern tech. It's really great. And so, because I've been very excited for that, I thought I would host a little Discord, the Kult Discord. Let me pop a link there. If you're not in it yet, feel free to join. No pressure, though. Held a little casual tournament for that, where there is some Age of Empires merch up for grabs, which is available on the website. The winner of the tournament has the option to select something like a shirt or similar price, and I'll order it for them and get it delivered to their home. But basically, at the end of this tournament, the aim is to hopefully do another one and open it up to the players of the world that hopefully hear about it either on Twitch here, Twitter, Battlefy, and all of that. Let me just go over the initial bracket first, and then we'll get... for tonight's commentary, I'll be joined by Mac Apsu, who's ready to go. Let's give him a cheeky shout-out. Mac Apsu hosts Halo every Friday night, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Check him out. We got Risky Boy in the chat. He was actually one of our semi-finalists, hopefully going on to the finals. Let's give him a shout-out too. We've got Risky Boy in the chat. He's a really great player. Vizla, I see you. Hi, how you going? We will be getting to it. I just got to get all this intro stuff out of the way. So this first tournament was mainly for people in the Kult Discord. I popped the link there. You can find it in the About section. And if you'd like to join, no pressure. Drink every time I say no pressure. Let me just find the bracket. So initially, we used Battlefy to set up the brackets for this tournament, and the randomizer set up Risky Boy with 77, who you may remember was MVP for the tech stuff, I believe, for Disco Dan 82's birthday stream recently. Out of those two, victory went to Risky Boy. 77 put up a valiant effort. Also in the first bracket, we had Mac Apsu, who will be joining me on the commentary tonight, versus my good friend Marsley. Unfortunately, Marsley was not strong enough, and victory went to Mac Apsu. So that was the first pairing of the semi-finalists, Risky Boy versus Mac Apsu. But in the first bracket, before I get on with things, it was myself versus Stay and Frosty. Stay and Frosty put up a tremendous effort as the Ruse, but unfortunately, I was able to defeat him, which took me to the semi-finals, which will be in the game we're about to watch. And then also, rounding out the first bracket was Hulk Bogan, the Kult mod with the most, versus War Spikes, who won as well, and is going to be in this semi-finals game we're about to watch now. So yeah, this semi-finals game is myself versus Spikes. We're going to watch the replay, and then in a perfect world, not every game is kink-free, if that makes sense. But unfortunately, the game service played up, so we will not be able to watch the semi-finals match between Risky Boy and Mac Apsu due to a server error, but we will have the results there for you. So we'll go ahead and watch myself versus War Spikes. I think I've babbled on by myself long enough. Let's get Mac Apsu in here and get on with the game. The sooner we get through the semi-finals and the finals, we can open up the lobby to hopefully do some 8-player free-for-all with members of the Discord and any lovely selves in chat that have Age of Empires 4 installed as well. Let's bring him in. Joining me tonight, Mr. Mac Apsu. How you going, man?
Hello, Corbs. I'm very good, my friend. How are you doing today?
Mate, look, I am mighty tired. Let's be real. Some of you may know I'm currently working on a short film, which is currently in pre-production here in Bris Vegas. Today involved painting what is going to be going on the walls and the ceiling. And also, we had to get floor stone tiles from a person's driveway. And we had to load them into a trailer. So I've proven how unfit I am today. So that's how I'm going. But how's your day been? How's your weekend going so far?
My weekend's been pretty good. Epic night last night with Halo. Thanks for the kind words about that earlier with the shout out. But yeah, really fun. Ended up staying on nearly an hour overtime, so pretty tired myself. But I've been pumped for this today, and I've had a few games myself, just getting ready for some more casual matches. Maybe later on.
I'm hoping a lot of the cultists will be joining us, and hopefully maybe some people in chat as well. Also, just a pre-note chat that if we don't get to we will be reading chat, but if we're not responding either promptly or at all, it's nothing personal. It's just we got to focus on the commentary. This is a special little stream, so just want to let you all know that we will be watching. We appreciate every single one of you, but we need to commentate first. But I'm sure there'll be some downtime, and we can have a bit of a cheeky chat. But Mac, are you loaded into the replay and currently paused at the 3-second mark?
I am loaded into the replay and currently paused at the 4-second mark.
Oh, all right. Give me a second. Let me just get to 4 seconds. All right, I'm on 4 and I'm paused. All right, let's get this rolling, and let's click play in 3, 2, 1. Clickety click, and we're off. Thank you for the gifted sub, Visla, to the crumble of society. So, as always, your usual matches of Age of Empires across all the titles. You start in the beginning age. This time it's with the medieval themes. It's the Dark Age. What is your favorite age, Matt?
My favorite age is probably the Feudal Age, and obviously the Second Age, one just after the Dark Age here. I think the most action happens in the Feudal Age, and the Feudal Age really sets up the rest of the match as well. So the Feudal Age, to me, is where it's all at. What about you?
I think you make some very valid points there, because it's absolutely true. I haven't seen many players that initiate combat in the Dark Age. I know there's an Xbox achievement for defeating someone in the Dark Age, but I'm yet to attempt that myself, because you've got a very limited number of troops. But you're absolutely right. The Feudal Age is where things really start to get cooking, because it opens up lots of upgrades for getting more resources, start pumping them through, and then you don't know, not only access to your melee units, but then it opens up the archery range in the stable.
Yeah, absolutely. So the combat for sure really starts to kick into gear in the Feudal Age, but the Dark Age is really important when it comes to the race to the Feudal Age. Oof. And your build, your strategies, and how quickly you can get to Feudal Age, and what your plan is when you get there. All of that is really set up in the Dark Age, and we see Spikes down here going hard on the food, getting a couple of early houses in so he can keep building those villages nice and quick, and looking at getting some lumber up quickly as well. So that's really important. What resources you go for and how much exploring you do in the Dark Age can really set up your Feudal Age. And with the Feudal Age being so important, you really got to make sure you're on point for that Dark Age rush, those first 5 minutes of the game.
I find it very, very stressful in the Dark Age if I forget to have a villager always being prepared, or if I've got any idle villagers. Because you're absolutely right, where if you don't get to the Feudal Age in a relatively good pace, and you don't distribute your villagers around across resources, you can fall behind a bit. It's so important to have constant food coming in to keep producing villages, which you then assign to wood, because without wood you can't make your houses, you can't make your mills, your lumber camps, etc. And then it's also, you then got to juggle getting some gold, at least some gold coming in, because to make that Feudal Age, that building to get you to the Feudal Age, it requires, if top of my head, is it 400 food, 200 gold?
Exactly, 400 food, 200 gold, and getting to that gold is the key. And you can see here, Spike's actually a bit unfortunate, nothing too close to his base with the gold. There is some just a little bit north of him. Whereas over up in the blue corner, Corb's actually already onto his gold, and even looks like he's gone for a couple of upgrades already because his resources are being spent while they're being mined. So potentially some faster wood chopping for Corb's going there, and getting that early gold mined as well. So looking to get to the feudal age potentially a little bit quicker than Spikes down in the red corner.
I find I really struggle at the start in the Dark Age to get enough wood coming in. I feel like I'm constantly wanting to build another house, build a camp, build a barracks. I always feel like I'm short of wood. So I like to really get, obviously the first group of villagers, I get them on the sheep I have available. Then I like to pump some out onto wood. And I like to have at least 2 on gold. And benefit of the Holy Roman Empire with the prelates is that I can have the one I start with. Well, actually, sorry, I lie. You don't start with one, but you can make one straight away. I like to get him buffing those on food first, and then when I get gold underway, I move him over to there to get that going. Get that 200 gold, get that 400 food, and get my... Usually it's a Holy Roman Empire. I will go the... I'm forgetting the name of the building now, but it's the building where it's basically, like, I like to call it like a super blacksmith, where you get all your upgrades, but at a 25% discount.
Oh, that's what you want. Definitely those upgrades at 25% cheaper. That's going to save you gold for the rest of the match, so you're a little bit less stressful there. As you see Spikes going with 7 villagers on the gold all of a sudden nice and early to try and catch up there with that late start on the gold.
Oh, and we have his villagers. They are converging, ready to go to build. Let's jump into the free camera. Let's take a look. He is going for... The Chinese are a little bit different where they have 2 options. Well, I lied. They can actually get 2 buildings per age, but he's kicking off with the Imperial Academy, where nearby buildings will generate plus 100% tax gold, which is extremely important to the Chinese faction, because they have there. He should have one up. Has he not got one up? Does he have a tax collector? I don't think he does. He does not have a taxman, Mac. Let's bring that up. Yes. Oh, he's building one now. An Imperial official, an economic support unit. What they can actually do, they go around to buildings and collect tax, which gives you some more gold income. You can actually get them to use an ability so you get more gold tax from these production buildings.
Yeah, so getting extra gold almost any way you can is going to be important, because sometimes gold is scattered in really awkward parts of the map, and if you don't get a good spawn, like a big chunky gold vein right near your base, you're going to be really struggling as you get into the later game and upgrading your units. So
those upgrades really count.
Yeah, as soon as you get into, you know, a big combat situation down the track, the number of units definitely comes into play, but if you have units which are stronger from having their upgrades done, and if you micromanage them a little bit better so that they are in good positions, then the number of units really doesn't matter as much. So those upgrades and that gold is going to be really important there.
That is, I have found that to be my saving grace in a lot of fights, where sometimes it does not matter if you've got more than the others. It's how you, it's not the size of the army, it's how you use it. Where bowmen, for instance, they are really good against units that don't have heavy armor. So they're really good against things like spearmen. And then cavalry are really good against ranged units like your archers. So in combat, it's very important to micromanage. Get your cavalry attacking their ranged units, getting your spearmen attacking their cavalry, so on and so forth. Make or break.
Absolutely, yeah. That micromanagement really comes into it, especially with the combat stuff. As you see now, we're looking at the second landmark of the age coming in for China, or the Chinese down on the red corner with Spikes. That's what you were talking about. Getting both of the landmarks in helps you create a dynasty, giving you even more upgrades.
That's right.
The age, yes.
If China can get their dynasties pumping, they get some serious bonuses. What they are off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I believe it's things like gathering speed, villager work speed, things like that. But this building he's going for here, he's just gotten both feudal age buildings. It's the Barbican of the Sun? I apologize if I'm butchering that pronunciation. It's unique to the Chinese, of course. Fires a long-range hand cannon and adds arrow slits while garrisoned. Offers some pretty good vision. You can see that there's definitely a hill there. But it's not too bad. I have found many of my scouts dying to this building, running too close to it and getting sniped. Not a fun time.
And the early cannons with the Chinese as well. I found walking in the feudal age and getting hit with cannons, like, wait, what's going on?
It's very scary hearing the artillery sounds when you're versing the Chinese, because I've really come to fear not only their cannons, but their nest of bees units, which I'm sure we will see, wink wink, later on. They are a little bit scary. But it's good we've got, Spikes has got his tax collector getting to work, getting that extra gold coming in. Still lots of sheep to go. He's really...
See that build down the bottom right of his face there? He's just done 3 villages. Do you want to explain the villages for anybody who doesn't play Chinese race?
Another unique Chinese building. So you've got your houses, which every faction gets, which increases your maximum population by, if I remember off the top of my head, by 10. You can have up to a population of 200 if you have enough houses. The village, however, increases it by 40. So not too bad if you've got the time and the space and the resources to get those building.
It also looks like it has the capacity to garrison up to 10 units in there as well. So doubles as both basically 4 houses in one with the garrison capacity. So you can put them in defensive positions around your town or your base to help protect the villages. So that's really cool, unique building there for the Chinese.
Very useful. It's actually taken me quite a few games to get into the habit of learning how to get my villages to safety when I'm under attack, because I'm so used to Age of Empires 2, where you would just select the town bell at your town center. But
the town bell, right?
Where is it? You only hear it if you're
the
playing as the
town bell?
British. It's weird. What they've done instead is there's a little bit more micromanagement involved. You need to, well, what I find myself, if I say I was Spikes here and I was being attacked, what I would do is I would double click. Want to get all my villages that are currently on screen, select those. Then here you have the hotkey is G for seek shelter. Orders the villager or villagers to automatically seek shelter in the nearest garrisonable building. So they'll automatically run to the town center, these cheeky buildings with the cannons, and to buildings like this as well, and get to safety so they're not getting arrows rained down upon them, and hopefully living to work another day.
Yeah, absolutely. The seek shelter. I'm actually glad that you pointed that one out to me, because I was manually telling them which buildings to go to. But
hey, if you're fast at the micro, go for it.
I do like to put little outposts very near to my resource drop-off locations, though. So say next to that lumber camp, you put a little outpost there, and if the lumberers start to get attacked, their outpost is right there. But you can only garrison 5 units in them. So a few villages tend to get picked off still. Yes,
they didn't. I find that as well. The last one to the tower is not so lucky, and they just sort of have to bear the brunt of the attack. But that's a very good way to get the early game defenses going. I find is having a cheeky tower or anything to garrison in near these camps, because I find very often people will make cavalry or archers and come attack my innocent villagers working on gold, or food, or stone, or whatever it may be, and I've got nowhere to put them. And I have to watch them die.
That's something that we are not seeing just yet, but that early game harassment, you could say, by one player harassing the villagers of the other base. So while you're trying to get started in the feudal age, all of a sudden some longbowmen start coming in and attacking your gold villages, and it really starts to slow down your production. Or if they hit your farms, it slows down the production of your units. And that can just sort of put you behind for the rest of the game. So that's where that feudal age battle really starts to come into it that we were talking about before.
It really can make or break the rest of the game. It's quite scary. And you mentioned the English longbowmen. Very terrifying having a group of English longbowmen attack early in the game and you're not prepared, because they've got better range. And if they build any sort of building that gives them their bonus nearby, they get an attack speed bonus, and it's not a fun time. I actually used that on a player online recently, and it worked in my favor really well. Looks like we might get some of that early feudal age action. I can't quite remember what happened here, but it looks like I am deploying my spearmen. Oh no, we're just gonna sit by the gate.
The stone walls, look at you go, getting nice and cozy at home, setting your perimeter there, saying you're not getting in around the back, you're not getting in around the side. You can come in through the front gate if you'd like, but that's where all my troops are.
I have found a lot of people that verse me will find that yes, I am very quick to get up stone walls if I'm playing as the Holy Roman Empire or the British, because both of those factions get really good defense bonuses. So I find it absolutely vital to surviving early aggression by some players that I won't name that are a little bit scary. So I like to have that assurance that they're not going to come around the back unless they're going to break through that. And then I will get an alert for that. So that'll be fine. That will
I found
be
the
fine.
alert as very helpful. The palisade walls, they're a bit weak, you know, but you put them up and it lets you know when somebody's trying to come around from the back. And they first have to bust down those walls, even those little weaker wooden ones. They can be really good for deterring people from those early attacks, or just slowing them down a little bit as well.
That's exactly it.
The stone ones, you can't damage them unless you bring in some sort of siege unit. So it just makes it really difficult. And your opponent, if they are trying to send an early rush, they have to make sure they've got their barracks set up and that they've done that siege upgrade so their infantry can build battering rams out on the field rather than back at base.
Definitely not a strategy I'm familiar with, Mac. I can assure you, I never ever do that. I promise. I would not lie. And it looks like I believe I did something quite cheeky here. I'm actually sending through my early spearmen and not longbowmen, shortbowmen, sorry, around the left flank, around the back there. So it looks like I'm coming in for a cheeky push. Let's revisit Spikes. What is Spikes? He's going to kill my scout. Oh no, he's running away. How are we going? He's got a couple of archery ranges, a couple of barracks, so he's ready to start pushing out some units.
I was watching a little bit earlier, worried about his military production as you were starting to build up that small squad that you've sent around. And he's had those barracks and archery ranges for a while there, but his total military units at the moment are only 7. So he's going to have a bit of a hard time defending against these spearmen as they come in.
I don't see any walls, but I completely missed this before. Spikes is actually already in the Castle Age, while myself, I'm still kicking around in the Feudal Age. Spikes has got a monastery up ready to go, and a keep on the way to defend the front, reinforced by his special building here. I'm seeing a lot of micromanagement with these villages, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I'm only seeing
55 villages as well, so he's got more villages than you do at this stage of the game.
20 on food, 19 on wood, 7 on gold. Not too shabby. And these are the units I was talking about earlier that really grind my gears. The clock tower, well, nest of bees, but if it's built from the astronomical clock tower, it gets a defense, I think a health bonus. Here we go. So the astronomical clock tower is a unique Chinese building for getting to the Castle Age. It acts as a siege workshop and produces siege engines with plus 50% health. Keeps them alive, and I think Spikes really knows this, because they are a right nuisance. You'll see them in action in a bit.
Area of effect damage. You gotta love the area of effect damage against most units, you know? Like, that's a really versatile, balanced unit right there.
And it's very important, if you're up against units like this, to understand the stances of your units. So for instance, let me highlight these units here. You can see down here, in the bottom left, you've got a few different formations. So normally they'll go in sort of like a square, sort of rectangle formation, but you can put them in a line formation where they become more wider than deep, if I hope that makes sense. Wedge formation, or staggered formation, where they practice social distancing, which is very good of them, and very good if you're going up against area effect units like that. And hopefully I remember to use that. But it looks like I'm going for a cheeky push, building a couple of battering rams here in the hidden brush next to
that feudal age push. You're going for it, absolutely. Your units are there ready to go, but just the size of the map, because these 1v1s, these are actually done on a medium map size, yes, which is up to 4 players, one of the bigger options for 4 players. So the Feudal Age rush does make it a bit hard to get there and build these rams and get into their base before they've managed to get enough resources for Castle Age. just because it's a bit further away, especially having taken the long route there. You can see that's probably one of the reasons why that rush is now looking at being a castle age rush, but that gives you a few more possibilities for upgrading those units before Spikes does maybe. And it looks like you've got a monk taking a relic there. What are you doing with the relics, Corbs? There's a few options for those. What do you like to do with them?
Well, look, it is super cool that you can equip your monks with the relics and do the mass conversion move, much like you could do with the monks in the previous games with the classic Wallolu and convert them. But I prefer to, what I like to do is the Holy Roman Empire when I'm going to Castle Ages. I'll build this here, the Regnitz Cathedral, which is a unique building to the Holy Roman Empire. Relics placed inside this building generate plus 200% gold every minute and can hold up to 3. So I've placed 2 in there, getting me some extra gold over time. But then I also pop some relics in my monastery, because over time, relics placed inside that building, when I get the upgrade here in the Imperial Age, Teeth Barns, relics placed in a monastery provide an income of plus 30 food, wood, and stone every minute. Which is, I like those extra, I like the extra resources.
Yes, and that's a balanced version of the resources as well, rather than just gold. And you see Spikes moving quite a force out into the middle of the battlefield now, including those clock tower nest of bees that you were talking about there. So
he is
got a
on
good
the move.
Squad.
He's got some spearmen ready to go. He's got some palace guards, a unique Chinese unit. These bloody nest of bees.
He's brought 15 villagers out to build this keep here.
I do recall this. Yes, he went for building a keep near my base as an extra backup. Very cheeky, and he's pushed back my latest gold mine.
Yeah,
not fun for me.
Reaching out of your base to get some extra gold, and he's pushed a big force forward. Yeah, sometimes that's the risk you got to take. You know, you can get your villagers out there and potentially jump onto some resources in the middle of the map. But if they get attacked, then you lose all those villagers, or you spend too much time running around. But if they don't get noticed, you score the neutral resources and get ahead with your upgrades. And those mining camps getting taken out by the nest of bees, as it's clearly effective against buildings as well.
Speaking of not noticing things, this is when I decided to strike. I saw that Spikes was pushing with his units, so my little group down the bottom, I decided to go in with the Rams, going for the town center, hitting some resources. His villagers have had to move off the lumber camp and into the garrison. But then I believe I didn't do quite well at my micro. So I did all right holding off Spikes' new units, but then I didn't notice he brought quite a few villagers to come repair his town center as I'm trying to destroy it.
Yeah, there's how many is it? There's look like 10 villagers at the back repairing it. Actually fast, about the same speed as the damage that your 2 Rams are doing there.
And then this is where things took a really nasty turn. While I've just got his military is mainly down to his 1 nest of bees here, all I've got left apart from my Rams is archers, who are not very good against taking out siege units in a good, timely fashion. I really should have focused my archers on the villagers repairing. May have made the difference. I may have been able to knock out his town center and at least achieve something. But as you can see, he's pretty much wiping the floor with my archers. The battering ram it's not going to achieve anything at all. 1 archer left. Going strong. May he rest in peace.
Now there's a point there where perhaps you could have taken the units back out, you know? I'm gonna lose this fight, I'll go back out, I'll send some more reinforcements in, but in your defense, you have caused a big fuss. He's sending people back. He lost a little bit of time with some idle villagers while he was moving his military around. So definitely put a hindrance on his original plans to go straight into your front gate there. And now that that exercise is done and dusted, looks like you're basically setting up for a new defensive position. with the keep right on the front wall.
That's right. At this point, after losing that push, I figured, look, I better be ready to batten down the hatches and hold out against whatever John's about to throw at me. So I decided reinforce the main gate with a keep, but he's bringing in the rams. He may have learnt a thing or two from my push, so he's bringing the rams. Quite able to take a bit of damage from arrows, so I had to send out my infantry to make them bugger off in the nicest way possible. But then very unlucky. Nesta B's ready to deal with the infantry.
Now that's really good micromanagement there by Spike. But as soon as your infantry come in, he pulls the rams back, the infantry chase, and the Nesta B's just massacres the infantry.
And I'm definitely feeling that. See, I tried to retreat my archers, but they have unfortunately all perished, leaving my infantry left all alone, being mopped up by his ground units there. Very, very sad. So I was definitely feeling the pressure by this stage, where I had now pumped out. I had three barracks ready to go, 3 archery ranges, starting to get some siege workshops ready to counter those siege units with hopefully some cannons or trebuchets of my own to deal with his keep that he's got out on my doorstep. While that's all going on, I've managed to get my food underway, where I've got a series of farms rocking and a-rolling, and I've even got some trade going on. I've managed to find a safe trade route from my market. Where's my market? Here in the hub of my fine little city. Out to the side here, in the left corner, we've got a neutral trade post, which I was able to safely trade with. So, you know, it's looking all right. It's looking okay, but Spike's taking my gold. It's taking my gold, Mac.
He has taken your gold. He's pushed forward. He's taken those neutral golds in the middle there. Now, if you haven't discovered it yet, I don't believe, but there's actually a big gold vein right up in the top corner of the map. Oh no, it looks like you may have been building a mining camp there, but got distracted or something. Right up
these villages, I may have forgotten about it. All these villages, I may not have built a gate, so the villagers. Oh no, I did. The villagers might have just had to take a very long detour.
You'll get there, I'm sure. And you've got quite a lot of gold at the moment. Actually, still ahead in the gold. But these walls are your saving grace right now. After losing all those units, he could have easily, without the walls there, pushed through, started doing damage to some of your buildings, taking on even more resources. So the walls absolutely saved you nice and early here in the Castle Age. That's right, and that's really really why I go for the walls as soon as I can, the stone walls, because I figure I'll stop his Nesta Bees, I'll stop his infantry. I only really have to worry and counter any battering rams that may come creeping up. But really in the back of my mind, well, I hope it was in the back of my mind at this point, is being prepared for, it's inevitable, trebuchets or cannons are coming. And they will break my wall. So I'm hoping, from memory, that at this point I was mentally preparing for that. Preparing for the siege, yeah, absolutely. The Castle Age siege is where it starts to get really hairy, and things can get very distracting as well. So your progression towards Imperial Age can suffer if you're dealing with a lot of military stuff in the Castle Age here. And then all of a sudden you find yourself behind with technology, as we were talking about earlier as well. So I think defensive is a really good way to play. You get to build up all your units. You focus on your units and where they're placed, but at the same time as paying attention to the layout of your base and making sure that your villages are all keeping active. As soon as you start to go out there and attack, you start to neglect a little bit of your home base, and villagers can stand around idle, and you can lose, you know, valuable resource collecting time. So defensive is a little bit easier to manage, I think, on the micro side of things.
I 100% agree with that, and it is definitely, I do prefer to play that way, where I do really like to get my upgrades, get a lot of things prepared, and then see to building an army. I typically prefer to play like that, but versing people like Spikes and other people in the tournament we've had, I've definitely had to focus on trying to get some early pushes to at least delay them. Otherwise, I'm going to feel the pain. So we've both reached the Imperial Age. I've built the Elsbach Palace, which is quite cool. It actually gives a bonus, a defensive bonus to all buildings within its radius, which is actually quite cool. It's buildings within influence take negative 33% less damage, which is really cool. And it's also got plus 50% health for a keep. Quite a cool defensive building there.
Yeah, yeah, buffs the defense of the buildings around it, and it has, you know, 150% of its own health. That is a really tough spot. I wouldn't see him breaking through that side anytime soon with that there now. And that line formation you were talking about before, I see your archers starting to line up with the infantry in front of them to take the brunt of the action while the archers sit at the back. That's where you're starting to get really good with the micro there, with the military force.
I feel like I'm going to be giving away a lot of my epic secrets with these replays, but yeah, that is a commonly I will line up my I do like to have a considerable force of crossbowmen, bowmen, whatever I could get, with spearmen in the front ready to counter any cavalry that might be coming to counter my range units. And then I do like, it's really a lot of fun as the Holy Roman Empire. They get a few changes where their men-at-arms actually can get an upgrade to have a two-handed weapon, and it becomes a mace, which does even more damage. Not only that,
area of effect damage as well, if I'm not mistaken.
That is the if I'm pronouncing this right, the Landsknecht. I'm probably butchering that, but that is the Holy Roman Empire unique infantry unit, where they don't have as much armor as the man-at-arms and the spearmen, but they do area of effect damage. So if you can get them into the brawl, they're just swinging their two-handed greatswords and dealing damage to enemy units around them, which is really cool. So I like to mix them into my spearmen and man-at-arms regiments to hopefully get that bit of extra damage.
As we're setting up for this fight here, just having a quick look at chat, and Risky Boy was agreeing earlier about the early game. If you aren't on the ball, it's GG's, nice and early. Food and gold to kick it off with is what you need. You can still move your sheep very close to the town center, but the way the villagers farm the sheep is it can be a little bit tedious sometimes. It's best to grab a villager one by one and give them one sheep each, or else they end up getting in each other's way.
I find that too.
Yeah, so cannons are annoying. Yes, Risky Boy's agreeing with more of the stuff that we've been talking about. Disco Dan, hello my friend. Good to see you here as well. He's learning, he's watching, and he's learning a little bit of how not to get poked. Thanks for picking up the tips, Dan. And the combat is starting to take off here. It's this gate there. Is that the...
Spikes is really going for walling me in. He's really embracing China's way of having a great wall. Good on him. Good on him. But
the walls are attacking each other.
We've got an epic standoff between these two towers. But then Spikes is neglecting. He has 25 idle villagers back home, not doing anything. Not doing anything. His food is currently very low.
44 idle villages he's up to. Yeah, food. They were on the berries, it looks like, and there's no farms around.
The berries are all gone.
He must be getting distracted.
No, you definitely... Anytime you get an idle villager, you want to get them on anything. Anything at all. Even if it's just more food, more wood. His walls have actually, I've noticed here, his walls have actually caused my traders, my innocent traders, to take a dangerous route past his towers and keep, and they've actually been murdered, Mac.
Yeah, I've just noticed 2 of them are inside his walls.
I'd consider that a war crime.
Where they're gold. Yeah,
but I'm not here to point fingers. I'm just here to commentate and say it how it is.
That wall is so aggressive. If you would jump to the reveal all on the map options for a moment and have a look at that aggressive red wall that he's gone for here.
Look at this. All along the map. He's really role-playing as China.
Claiming 3/4 of the map early on with 20 idle villages and only 30 military units.
It's not just my gate. It's the entire length of the map. It's a little scary. And he's also blocking off all 3 sacred sites. You got the one on the left here, the one in the middle, and the one on the far right here. So he's denying me to get a sacred site on my own, to get more gold coming in, and hopefully achieve one of the victory conditions, which is holding all 3 sacred sites for, is it 10 minutes?
10 minutes to hold the 3 sacred sites, yes. But it does only take 1 unit to go and stand in a sacred site to start taking it back. So if you've got to keep somebody guarding each of them.
Now, it was very fortunate for me here. The range of my keeps and towers allowed me to see that he was preparing trebuchets right here with a really nice hill ready to be used as high ground. So this is why I've started to pump out some cannons. These are the Culverin, if I'm pronouncing that right. They do bonus damage to siege weapons, so they're your anti-siege units. Quite handy. And then what's this? I've deleted 4 houses. Why
Just noticed that your population 190 out of 170.
I definitely am trying to patch that hole, building some more houses here, ready to get to that 200 pop cap. Spike's starting to set up his siege equipment.
On that higher ground, as you mentioned, that's good play. That's very good utilization of the higher ground features in the Age of Empires 4. Those trebuchets instantly going at that keep and taking out in the first hit 25% of its HP. So I can't see that keep lasting too long.
That is a big oof if I ever did see one. Oh, he's changed target. He wants to deal with it in order. Onto the watchtower. The epic watchtower duel has come to a halt, and the watchtower is now doing very little damage. Oh, it's doing all right damage against the trebs, but it's now on fire.
Curious as to why he's opting for that watchtower. He doesn't appear to be massing any forces trying to bust through the wall there. The watchtowers are kind of just attacking each other. Taking that out, it's not going to help him get a force into your base or anything there. I think the keep could have been a better strategy, but look at those nest of bees attacking those cannons that you were talking about, the anti-siege weapons. The
I was definitely feeling that.
Higher ground. And
yeah, I find it's if you've got the option to pull back damaged siege units and repair them with your villagers rather than build a new one, because it does. Siege equipment in this game gets really expensive.
It does. The gold of the siege units, it's very, very pricey to keep producing siege units after they've been destroyed. There's only limited gold on the map, and you can't just be consuming it. Those siege vehicles are definitely not a never-ending resource.
Spikes as well, going for bulk farms, ready to go. But his army, all he's got so far, which I believe I was unaware of at this point, is just this siege equipment and this group right here, as opposed to... Oh. He's preparing. We have bulk, 3 barracks about to be prepared, and 3 siege workshops about to be built by this group of villagers. The hurt is coming. Meanwhile, preparing for the worst. I'm not sure what I was doing here, but my infantry are deciding to go, let's go check out the right flank. Let's pull back from the front line. I'm not sure what I was wanting to achieve here. We'll find out very soon. I mean, I'm looking at
this neutrally and thinking that this could work out pretty well for you here. The walls and the keep are causing a lot of grief. You know, all of the attention is on those walls and on that keep. As you see the wall come down now, but there was no, just double checking, changing over the spikes, there's no gate for him to walk through there. So, unless he builds a gate really quick, he's not going to be able to get through these walls. His own walls have blocked him from being able to make a move.
It was very awkward for me, because I did not expect there to be a wall here. It was only at this moment that I realized there were more walls around my base, so my infantry are stuck here. And then, like I mentioned before, these particular cannons are anti-siege, so they're not very effective at taking out walls. So at this moment, I believe I was panicking, thinking, how am I going to get through this wall quickly to deal with his siege units that have just broken my gate here and gonna come for my keep? So here I am trying as fast as I can to break through at least one section of the wall with these cannons just doing their best. Priests out in the front. Probably not a wise choice. In hindsight, I probably would have put them behind the infantry.
I find I often use the select all military units function, and it does grab the priests and just puts them in the middle of the pack as you send everybody in to attack.
Keep them nice and safe, because there's generally they will heal friendly units that have been damaged, but then there's some factions where I know the Holy Roman Empire gets a bonus where the prelates, the priests, will actually buff nearby units to give them, I think, attack speed? Quite handy in a pinch.
Well, you've busted through the wall, and it looks like your infantry is looking at coming through there. You might just be setting him up or sussing him out, seeing what he's got going on.
I don't think I was anticipating that keep there. I don't think I knew about that keep yet. Or
yes,
I forgot about it.
It's easy for us to say in observer mode what should or shouldn't be done, but that's one thing we forget. There's the fog of war when you're playing the game really does make your decision making a lot harder than it does for us just sitting here watching.
Let's jump back to Spikes. What's it like on his end? On his end, it's looking pretty good. From his view, he's breaking through the wall. Keep is about to fall. Oh! I remember now. Knowing that I am my back against the wall, I've decided to build a cheeky wonder, which will grant me a victory in 14 minutes and 43 seconds, 38 seconds, if it is not destroyed within that time. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
That's, as you said before, one of the strategies with the wall making and the defensive stuff, keeping everything together. You've been isolated away from the sacred sites. That's one of the win conditions, take it away. Struggling even to get out of your own base. So going and destroying his landmarks are going to be a challenge as well. Building the Wonder seems to be the best win condition for you to aim for at the moment, I think, and it's going to potentially change Spikes' entire approach. How is he going to get into your base? Is he going to go around the other way instead? Is he going to keep trying to go through this gap that he's created? He has destroyed that keep and those two towers on that wall there at the front. So interesting to see what sort of pathway he goes for, trying to get into this Wonder.
I actually was anticipating, I really thought that once he had destroyed this area here, he was going to push in with everything he had, but that was not the case. Instead, he opted to, he's captured the middle sacred site here, capturing the left one right now.
Now, this is a very, very sneaky tactic because, as you said, 15 minutes to get the win condition with the Wonder, but only 10 minutes to get it with the sacred site. So if he can quickly go and claim these 3 sacred sites and keep you locked in your base, he could cheeky get the win here if he manages to hold them for 10 minutes.
That's
He'll
right.
have a couple of minutes to go on the Wonder.
And he's currently got a third priest heading around the right side, heading for the last sacred site. So he could get there in time. 12 minutes, 53 seconds left on the clock for the Wonder. The pressure is on. Now I just want to bring everyone's attention to something that I missed earlier. The siege is continuing here. My cannons dealing with the trebuchets, which was quite nice. What I just want to bring to everyone's attention. Early on in the game, I did build a secret town center in the bottom corner of the map. And I also built a barracks, along with a splinter force of rogue agents.
I do see this. Yes, the super, super sneaky, very bottom corner town center.
Just want to bring that to your attention. Back to the game.
A few spearmen hiding in the stealth forest down in the bottom corner there.
I think someone did ask about the stealth forests earlier, and yes, it's absolutely right. There are stealth forests in the game now. You can usually tell them apart because they have this long grass amongst the loose trees. Units sitting in there will not be seen straight away.
Unless they attack. And is it true that outposts as well? If you build an outpost in there, it's not able to be seen as easily?
Oh, I have not done that myself yet. I would like to see.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that, but I haven't tried it or confirmed it just yet, so... Getting through those walls, you've decided to go on the counter-attack, push straight out the hole that was created by Spikes' siege. As he's going for that third sacred site right now, what's the timer on the Wonder, Ice?
On the Wonder, we've got 11 minutes, 13 seconds.
it looks like he's going to capture the site just in time to get ahead here. So it's going to be a matter of you going out and reclaiming one of those to interrupt his sneaky tactic of avoiding your wonder by getting the sacred sites.
The Holy Trinity.
Here we go. Here we go. This is it.
Nest of bees are a real pain.
Moving the siege units back out there, actually starting to take everything back. The nest of bees absolutely hammering your infantry.
Not a good time.
His infantry chasing you down there as well, so they're taking everything back to the base. Now, with 10 minutes to defend the Wonder, you're really hoping that you don't just get all of your military annihilated here, I'd say. Chasing down villages as well, that's going to slow down your resources. But you've got quite a lot of gold there, sitting on 8,000 cores.
Oh, getting those relics early definitely helped in the long run. Getting some gold rolling in. So that Splinter Group, currently in the process of making some battering rams in the south corner, while I desperately defend the home front with whatever I can.
Rams. Eight battering rams he's making down in the bottom corner with a handful of spearmen. That is a crazy tactic that you're going for there, Corpse. Last-ditch counterattack, perhaps.
Desperate measures.
Nest of bees coming in with the higher ground, absolutely wiping out the infantry there.
The downside here is for spikes is now the nest of bees are in range of my cannons.
Yes,
making
the
short work.
Yes, absolutely. The anti-siege siege, destroying them in a couple of hits each. A single shot from a Calvarin.
And that's it. All that's left of the siege force is a Springald, which is anti-siege, but it's not quite as good as the Culverins. But it's all left on its lonesome. I've managed to build a keep to help defend this second line of buildings. Would really like to retake the front wall, but a little bit scary.
Yes, that front wall. You had the wall right on the higher ground there. So when once Spikes did push through, he found himself on top of the hill, looking down on your base, giving him that slight range advantage there. So definitely a tough one to try and take back that hill. But the sacred sites are still under Spike's control. So at this stage, it's going to be really close between the sacred sites or the Wonder Victory, and then with the knowing that there's a bunch of battering rams getting built in the corner as well, is definitely three things to keep an eye on here as we move into what looks like it's the end game. Really, I mean, we're in the
end game now.
Final age. We've got wonders. We've got sacred sites. We've got people attacking bases.
It's all happening. This is where the game truly shines, and it's fun. While it's fun, it is it's a little scary.
Yeah. So, Risky Boy, the timer. What's the timer on the sacred sites?
For whatever reason, the replay feature of the game does not include the sacred time. It only shows how many sites they've gained. But like Mac said before, sacred sites only require 10 minutes of holding them, which Spikes managed to get before I reached the 10-minute timer for my wonder.
Yeah, so he's about from about 30 seconds to 1 minute ahead. If he manages to hold them, he will win 30 to 60 seconds before you win with the wonder.
It was at this point that I really started to think that's really gonna not be fun for me if he wins with a sacred victory there. So
yeah,
here I'm sending a force.
From your perspective, a force.
Here on the left flank, I thought I could send an infantry force with a priest to take the sacred sign back, but again, I've discovered there's another wall. But you want to know what's really great in a time like this?
the secret squad in the bottom corner I see on the map.
Secret squad!
Their way up. Secret squad going for that sacred site. I imagine from your perspective, you had 2 countdown timers on the left of your screen for your objectives there. One was defend your wonder, which had about 5 minutes to go, and one was claim back one of the sacred sites with about 4.5 minutes to go.
That's right.
So the urgency is there, and you can definitely see that.
That was a bit of pressure. Not gonna lie, but it was a make or break situation, and I had to deal with that sacred site. I really had no other choice.
Now we can see the battering rams and the spearmen moving up there towards that, so it looks like you're doing something good there. But the forces for spikes still getting built up in the middle there. It seems like he's pretty confident with the sacred sites that you're not going to get through.
He's pretty confident.
He's not worried about pushing the wonder. He's not worried about pushing your base. He clearly doesn't know that you have troops behind enemy lines.
We're currently looking at Spikes' view here, and it's currently... Oh, what's this? Some blue blips on the map. What is this? A conga line of rams? What could this be?
Yes, he has vision in the entire, bottom 2/3 of the map, except for this little corner where your guys have managed to sneak up from. And as we were saying before, it only takes a single unit to get into that sacred site to start taking it back, yes?
That's right, yes. You just need to... I believe priests are required to capture it. But yeah, any unit can jump in and just take away their claim of it to stop the timer.
As we see the infantry there, the spearmen throwing the torches at the outpost. That outpost isn't going to be enough. The battering rams knocking down the wall to let the rest of the forces through if needed. And Spikes' troops, they are on the way. He's got a squad of infantry, crossbowmen, and the palace guards with a few cannons as well. So he's got a pretty solid force. Those battering rams, they don't do damage to units.
The sacred site has been neutralized.
It's neutralized. It's been neutralized, so you've got about 1 minute or so, I'd say, on the wonder or something, wasn't it?
Let's take a look. Let's bring up the wonder tracker. Oh, okay. 3 minutes, 43 seconds left on the wonder. 3 minutes 38. I apologize.
Oh, I must have underestimated that a bit earlier when I was talking about it. Sorry, but those battering rams, they don't do damage to units at all. So they're just tanks. And if you micromanage your squad and don't target them, and just target the infantry, you should be able to take you out here.
At this point, the battering rams had done their mission. They had completed their mission, and at this point, they were really just to annoy Spikes and distract him, to be fair, and get in his face and be like, look at my rams. Look at my rams.
My rams are coming for your castle. You can deal with them and protect your keep, or you can try and get through and get my wonder because you neutralize the sacred sites.
This conga line of rams, they ain't stopping. You can't stop the battering ram train. Well, you probably can. Let's be real. Look, I lie. This one little battering ram, 2 little battering rams decided to go home. This little battering ram went to market.
You're right about just hassling him, just annoying him, just doing a bit of damage here, a bit of damage there, making sure he's spreading his units thin and doesn't have any chance of getting all of his military at the wonder at once. That's
absolutely right. Divide and conquer. And while he has taken back the sacred site, it's restarted the countdown on the sacred site counter. So the wonder is ahead, currently on 2 minutes left of the wonder, unless Spikes makes a big push. Let's take a look at the home front. What? Alright, so villagers out, getting some emergency wood. That's what she said. Got some siege units ready to hold the line. Got some infantry. Got another regiment of infantry ready to hold the line. Hold the line at all costs because China is coming. China's here.
China is looking at the clock and thinking, if I don't get my units in there, I'm done.
This is China's world. We're just living in it.
Here they come. They're all coming through the wall as well as they push through the gate. Spikes has finally made a gate in his own wall at that first hill that he's conquered from yours before. And I think it's just a little bit too little, a little bit too late there. 1 minute to go. He's got to get all of his troops in at the Wonder, get past your troops, and also take out the Wonder with 1 minute to go. So
if he had attacked on the right here, all he had to do was push through this wall, this keep, and then hit the Wonder. But he's invested to the left side.
So invested through that first area, which he did conquer that before, you know. And if he had to push down a bit further, he might have found that he was in a position to potentially take this game earlier on. And easy for us to say with observer mode in hindsight, but look at those cannons. I'll tell you what, they would make short work of the Wonder if they could get there.
If that's the thing, if they can get there. But I've got my line of siege. I've got my infantry ready to hold the line, ready to lay down their lives for the Holy Roman Empire. Just gotta hassle. 8 seconds left on the clock. Hold the line.
Well, there it is.
And that's a Wonder victory.
Impressive game on all fronts by both parties there. Spikes, such a good effort to get into the base and try and make that final push after losing that sacred site. He thought he had it. Really interesting tactic from him there too.
Definitely. If he had pushed on that right side at the same time, I would have had to split my forces, and who knows what would have happened there. So let's take a look. Can we have a look at the stats? Let me find it in my recent games. I've played a little bit too much of the game, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at the timeline here. Bit back and forth. Blue is myself, red is Spikes. But then here, I get ahead.
Yes, very. That right there. See, you continued your production. I suspect if we look at the village account for around about that same time, you've probably kept on top of your villages and your resources and your unit production. Where Spikes maybe fell off a little bit, trying to get a little bit back on top of where he was and what he was doing, and make a plan to push. Really, really close match though. Close match. Not often that you see total scores, you know, 16,000 and nearly 12,000. Normally one side will really shatter the opponent's score at the end of the game there, but Spike's doing a great job and just losing because I think of those sneaky battering rams that were behind enemy lines. That was what it was right there. That the stone walls and the battering rams behind lines.
I 100% agree. I think without those rams, I probably wouldn't have been able to break through in time to effectively deal with the sacred site. My only other option was to wheel my cannons, my bombard cannons, around the mountain and deal with that. But then I was so worried, if I bring my siege around to deal with that wall, is he then going to just push through the front door with his siege? So I was very thankful for the secret battering ram squad. Now, just as we bring up the next game, I don't want to spoil the score, so I'm going to quickly just have a screen over the top to hide it as I set that up. We'll jump into the game and pause it so it's ready to go. But Mac, we can't show the game between you and Risky Boy, but do you want to give us a recap?
I'm so upset with the service because it was an absolute banger. A lot of the stuff that we were talking about with that early game there, I'll do my best to give a quick recap of what happened, but I was very nervous coming into the game. Risky Boy, I'd heard, was a pretty good player and was good at hassling. It was such a fun game, as you see Risky saying in chat there, and I was nervous, and I went in and I was sweaty. My first 5 minutes, I got to feudal faster than I had ever gotten. I think in under 5 minutes, I was feudal age, and I was pumped. I was thinking, yes, I've done a new PB for feudal age. Let's go early push with the English. Let's get those longbowmen in there. Let's get some battering rams in there, harass his gold production, harass his food production. And I did. I started moving units out, and I think that Risky was definitely not ready for it. Just a little bit surprised. I was probably more of an underdog and came out so aggressive. And then I was also really strong on the micro. So as we were having these little battles, he was bringing out the cavalry to deal with my archers, and I was taking a step back, and then everyone taking a shot, then everyone taking a step back, and everyone taking a shot. Really, really hassling him with these longbowmen, and just relentless on the push. Would retreat a bit, grab another battering ram, push back in again. And then it just went on that little bit too long, and I just couldn't quite get the finishing touches on. We pushed into Castle Age. I had to take a step back and start to build a fort just outside of his base, very similar to what Spikes was doing there. And the game there sort of started to stretch out, and it really became quite a battle for the middle of the map. And Risky, huge unit production, really got on top of everything with macro and micro, really stepped up the game after my strong start. And I actually kind of started to flake it a little bit with the villagers back at home. I stopped my villager production. I wasn't really making more units properly. I was too focused on the center of the map, and it was one sneaky squad of knights that snuck around the back, and Risky comes into my base and finds nothing, no one home except 60 odd villagers, which he just rampages with 20 knights. Oh. And I found myself within 5 minutes going from having a keep and outposts out the front of his base ready to push to having no villagers left, and my base getting completely sieged by a handful of knights. It was just an epic play by Risky Boy to go around the back there while we were distracted with the middle of the map, and to come back from being behind with those resources at the start with my early harassment. An epic match, and Risky Boy taking the victory there.
That's it. All it takes is one opening for the enemy to absolutely cripple your military economy, hit a main building that you're relying on, and it's just how it goes. But it makes the game so much fun. And I remember you saying you were controlling the middle, which I saw work very well in your first game against Marsley, which really put the pressure on her. But then Risky Boy.
Black Forest, though. I love Black Forest. It creates a lot of really good choke points, and playing as English as I mostly do, as you mentioned before, they have that defensive buff around their outposts and walls and keeps. So Black Forest really allows English to lock down and hold their position really well. So I find that early push to the middle of the map, much like we just saw Spikes do, establish a keep, establish a bit of a defensive position. You can start to mass your armies from the middle of the map, and your base back at home is very well protected. So Black Forest is good for that, but Altai was much more open, mountainous terrain, and that is exactly what allowed Risky to get ahead or to get around the back there and to take out my villagers in that semi-final. So Risky with a huge comeback. The timeline of that game says it all. It was a really, really close one. But manages to get on top and beat me and qualify for this, which is the grand final of which Corpse, victor of the semi, and Risky, victor of the match against me, have made it to the grand final.
It all comes down to this: myself versus Risky Boy. Unfortunately, it won't. If things had been different, it'd be Mac and I both commentating our own match, but unfortunately, Risky Boy just coming in. Taking that. I would have loved to see it, but I loved hearing about it.
For some reason, I can't hear you anymore.
Oh no! Hold on. Let me reconnect in Discord. What about now? Can you hear me now, man?
Nope. I can see you talking, and I can see that I'm talking, but I've lost all my audio. Just bear with me one moment. I'll be right back.
One moment. Well, hopefully with the next one, we're looking at getting more casters to commentate, or I will, or Mac and I, or just me. We might sit out so that we could commentate, because we would love with the next one to commentate the semi-finals and the finals live rather than the replay, just to get that little bit of extra hype. Hopefully. So, yeah, not long after this one, I want to get another tournament going that will go over a series of weeks, so people can do it in their free times outside of work and family responsibilities. And we'll see about This is not live, unfortunately, Spikes, but we're hoping for the next tournament to do the semi-finals and the finals live. So this first tournament has been really, you know, testing the waters, seeing who's keen, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, what to expect with, you know, and as we've seen, you know, sometimes the game server just, you know, it has its moments and it doesn't save replays and all that, which is unfortunate, but hey, now we know. Now we know. Matt, can you hear me now, man? Mac! Mac! Oh, I got to drag him back in. Mac, can you hear me? Mac. Mac. Mac attack. Big Mac. Macintosh. Cheese and Mac. Mac Cannon. Mac Daddy. McDonald's. Also, hello, Barbosa, and hello, everyone that's tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in. Sorry we haven't been as responsive to chat as we'd like, but that's the thing. This is a special stream, and this is the priority is the commentary.
I think I'm back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I had to change headsets. I have no idea what happened. It just all of a sudden stopped working.
Hey, that's right. Well, that just goes to show that while the games might not be live, we are live, living our best lives, playing Age of Empires 4 here on a Saturday night with all of you lovely people in the chat. So let's get the finals underway, and then we can open up and do hopefully a big free-for-all. So I'm currently in the replay, currently paused on 3 seconds. How about you, Mac?
I missed the pause and I'm on 15 seconds.
15 seconds. So... Give us a sec.
Yeah.
Let me catch up to the 15-second mark. Give me a seckaroo. Just we're going to start by watching Risky Boy because I think we saw enough of me in the last game. So 13, 14. I'm clicking pause. All right, I'm on the 15-second mark. Let's kick it off in 3, 2, 1. Clickety-click. And they're off. Risky Boy going out for the scout. Got to get them sheepies. This is it.
Yeah. The sweaty first 5 minutes of the game.
Here we go, Dark Age again.
Many villages as you can on the resources you need them on. You can't waste any time scouting as well. As Risky going off down to the corner, probably looking for one of those trade markets early on.
Let's get before we get carried on, because the Dark Age, look, let's be honest, the Dark Age is a bit of a dark time. So let's do a head count and let's say g'day to everyone we've got in chat. So I saw a Mac Apsu. Oh, hello. Hello, I see you there. Sweet little Jigglypuff, if you're still there, thank you so much for tuning in. Risky Boy, we are definitely aware of you. Cat off, morning, my German friend, Vizla. Hello again. I believe I said hello to you earlier, and thank you for the gifted sub from before. Who else? We got Tucker coming in with the cheeky emotes. Runes, hello, good sir. Hill 568, Disco Dan 82, phenomenal 20. Scrolling down, Lord Barbosa online. Who else we got? Scrolling. Spikes 1225. Fuck you and your wonder. Fuck you and your wall, bitch.
That wall.
And to top it all off, Satan M God, yo, how you doing? Amir, hello friend, do you remember me? Amir. I have had, over the last year, I've had so many people come in and say hello in my streams. Some are regulars, some are not. And it is hard to remember everyone. I apologize. What did we talk about? Do you have any, did you give me any, what did we talk about last time you were here? It's hard to remember everyone's usernames. Very hard, but yes, that is right. We are watching the replay from games we did earlier in the week because we can't do it live, but this is live commentary. So I'm here with Mac Apsu. Let's give him another cheeky, another cheeky shout out. Mac Apsu hosts Halo every Friday night, Australian Eastern Standard Time. You can find him in the link there.
Thanks for that one, Corbs. Corbs, we would love to do the games live, but you were in both of these games that we're casting tonight, so it would be a challenge for you to cast it while also playing. And,
that's right. It's a lot of logistics that would go on to do that. So look, I know you've suggested we get some more casters for the next one, but if need be, I'm happy to sit out the next tournament. So we've always got my feed of the observing whatever games are going on during the semis and the finals.
Absolutely. But for now, we see the Dark Age getting underway. Risky getting onto that gold now after getting a lot of wood early on, as you said. Risky with the red color over on the right side of the map for this one. And this was the Dry Arabia map type. Is that correct?
That's right. I figured for the first bracket, Black Forest, a map that a lot of Age of Empires fans are familiar with, or newcomers should get to learn quite quick because it is a fan favorite. Lots of choke points, like Max said before, lots of forest, so you get plenty of lumber, plenty of choke points to lock down your base and then push out section by section. Then the second bracket for the semifinals was Altai, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is like a mountain range where you've got a bunch of mountains and hilly locations. Bigger choke point, well, I shouldn't say choke points, but lots of bigger areas for people to come around and flank and going through the front. But now it's Dry Arabia, which is a very, very open map. Little forests, not a lot of different elevations, so you've really got to be watching your borders and setting up walls, patrolling, whatever you got to do to keep your land safe.
Very open.
And Satan, all good. I don't expect everyone to be glued to every single stream we do, like I do and my friends do, but I appreciate friends of friends coming in and popping in saying g'day. I like to do the same for others, and I appreciate it. Middleton, Classic Middleton is a great mate. I'm so glad to have met him last year, and everyone I've met through him has been a joy, so I'm glad to have you guys pop in when you do. And people like from Max Community, Disco Dan's, Lord Barbossa's. It's great. We're meeting a lot of great people.
Yeah, Lord Barbosa has made me laugh twice now in chat. Once telling us it's esports, he says, just ignore chat.
Just wait till you watch if you watch his streams, you'll be laughing every bloody minute. He's a bloody hoot.
Yeah, I do pop over. I'm a serial lurker, Lord Barbosa, so I've actually watched a lot more than you would know of your streams. I just sort of sit there with it on the TV and have a chuckle to myself.
I'm the same. I'm a big serial lurker because I just get I do enough streaming myself that I then find it hard to find the energy to actively watch and engage with a lot of other streams. I love to lurk and support my friends first and foremost, and I will lurk just to be a presence there, and I'll try and say g'day, but I like to lurk I like to lurk a lot, and so, if I got the time, I'll comment, but it doesn't mean I'm not enjoying the content. I got life to do, man.
Yeah, we've all got stuff to do, and I don't put Netflix on in the background. I put a friend's stream on in the background, you know, and watch some quality gameplay or content of whatever we're looking at. Corb's getting to the feudal age about a minute or so behind Risky there, so that Dark Age rush is done and dusted. We'll see what they build. Risky going for their economic landmark. He's playing the Rus, yeah? So do you know much about them?
Oh, I've played a little bit of them because they're quite different to a lot of the other factions where, okay, let's start off. They can't build stone walls, which is just heresy. Heresy in my books. Can't build stone walls. They have extra strong wooden walls, which is not bad, but yeah, it's not a stone wall, but it's not a normal wooden wall either, which is quite good. But then their main thing is they're all about hunting. They love hunting so much. What you got to do is the ruse. Early on, you need to build. Where has he done it? Oh, he's built it a bit far to my liking, but what you want to do is you want to build these hunting cabins in or close to as many trees as you can. The more trees they're in range of, the more gold you get over time. And then what else they do is you need to hunt sheep, deer, boars, wolves, whatever you can, which increases your bounty over here. So if you can get to 100 gold of bounties, your villagers will get a plus 5% food harvest rate, and hunting cabins will generate gold every 27 seconds. Then there's tier 2 at 250 bounty, and tier 3 at 500. So if you can get to tier 3, 500, very hard to get. I find it hard to get quite quickly. You can get up to 15% villager food harvest rate, and hunting cabins can generate gold every 18 seconds. Not bloody bad. So they're all about hunting, these hunting cabins near forests, and wooden walls. And they've got good cavalry too.
I haven't utilized the hunting myself yet, but the scouts are actually capable of hunting the deer and other things and putting the carcasses on their back and bringing them back up to the hunting cabin, correct? And the hunting
Yes.
cabin can also produce scouts, so it's a unique thing for the ruse where you don't have to produce them from your town center. And I have seen an army almost of scouts running around maps, collecting all of the deer and such and bringing them back and robbing opponents of their food sources in the early games with the ruse.
That's right, and then to counter that, I've seen a lot of players online, they will go out and kill, if they're not playing as the ruse, they will go out and kill everything they can to stop the ruse getting their bonus, which is very cheeky. So we've got the map all open here. So Risky Boy, in a perfect world, he will want to be running up to here, getting these deer, killing these deer, coming to collect them later. Got to kill them as soon as you can. Running down here, more deer. Let's kill all the deer. We're gonna get those bounties. There's a boar here. Grab that. Got another boar here. Could go and steal my boar. Go and steal my deer. Got to go and get the kills before the other person. Then you can go collect the carcasses at a later time. You just want to get the bounty up to tier 1 sooner rather than later. Stressful.
Yeah, it's a whole nother element to add to your Dark Age and Feudal Age rush there. So definitely interesting. But some of the unique units you get with the ruse, the scouts are a little bit stronger, yeah. But also your cavalry in general, isn't it something about the cavalry and the knights?
Their cavalry,
as well?
their cavalry are so very naughty. They get horse archers in the Castle Age, which are really great for hit and run. Then get some good upgrades with that. You can also, in the Imperial Age, increase their weapon range by 2. Very cheeky. They also get early knights. Early knights in the Feudal Age.
Early knights, yeah. So knights are high armored cavalry, so takes even longer for spearmen, even, which are the counter to the cavalry, to take down those knights. You need a decent amount of spearmen to take down a horde of knights, and getting them that, you know, in the Feudal Age a bit earlier, definitely useful if you are going for those Feudal Age rushes that we were talking about. A lot of the action can happen in the early games.
It's very scary going up against ruse players that know what they're doing, because they will be running around hunting everything, and then getting early infantry backed up by their early knights, and then let's say they survive that, then they're going to be coming back in the Castle Age with horse archers and starting to get some siege equipment. The other thing they get as a unique unit to bolster their infantry is they get the Streltsy, which is a gunpowder range unit that also has melee capabilities. Not too shabby at all.
Yeah, and they have slightly more range than the hand cannoneers, don't they? Because they replace the hand cannoneers, isn't that correct?
I do believe so. Let's double check that. Let's jump back to the archery range. Yes, they have replaced the hand cannoneer. Most powerful ranged infantry with reasonable melee capabilities. Increased rate of fire while stationary. High damage, lower cost than the hand cannoneer, but slow movement speed. But they move as a group and just gun down whatever may approach them.
They've got the, while stationary, the increased action speed, so attack speed rather, sorry. So that's one of those units that you don't want to be micromanaging too much. You want to put them in a good spot. You want to have them target somebody and sit there and shoot without running around, because the longer they do that, the quicker their attack rate gets, something like that. So you want to have them standing still while they're firing, not running around.
They're pretty scary, and the scariest thing for me is that I have played with Risky Boy in StarCraft 2 back in the day, and I am aware, and by watching his streams, that he is no stranger to RTSs. So I knew that I need to get my walls up early, as usual, and get a little force ready to go, because he is quite good at micro management. So I've got a little group of spearmen and archers ready to go. Risky Boy got a little bit of infantry, but starting to build up those early knights. Daunting. Daunting to say the least.
I really like Risky Boy's placement of the farms, utilizing the town center there. A lot of people, you know, they build the mill, they build the farms around the mill, and they forget that the town center is ready to go for collecting all those resources straight away. And he's got stacks of farms super early all around that town center there, without having to spend money on a mill, and pulling in some good food straight away. So That's a good tactic there by Risky Boy.
It's a very, very good strategy to use as the ruse because, like we said before, they've got the hunting cabins, which actually replaces the mill. And generally, you want to put... Now, I'm not criticizing Risky Boy here. I'm just saying, generally, you want to put them nestled in forests or hugging forests because the hunting cabin generates gold based on the number of nearby trees. So usually they're right amongst a group of trees or right up against a forest. So there's not a lot of room around them to put farms. So the next best thing, put them around your town center. It's there.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's there ready to go.
With this dry Arabia, you mentioned putting them in nestled in the woods. This dry Arabia, there's hardly any trees. There's just a little tuft of forest, and you can see Risky Boy almost halfway through his first batch of trees already there. And you can see you've utilized yours in your walls as well, making them the corners of your wall.
That's right. Yep.
As the game will progress with this dry Arabia, you'll find yourself going in there, undoubtedly, chopping down trees which are essentially part of your wall, just because you've got none left inside your walls. This is exactly why we put... Well, I was the naughty boy that put dry Arabia as the final map type, because I figured, you know, if you've made it to the finals, you gotta know what you're doing, and dry Arabia is a real test of managing everything the game throws at you. But just final thought with the cabin. Generally, my advice would have been instead of there. Then you would have had all these trees adding to the gold. Now, this is a very classic Corbs tactic here, coming in with a couple of battering rams and some infantry. But Risky Boy actually found them preparing for the battle. Yeah, up in the northern corner there, I wasn't even aware that they were there. But Risky Boy has managed to find them early and knows they're on their way. So.
He's ready. Sometimes I fear that Risky Boy actually has two brains. He is extremely good.
Extremely good.
Scouting.
Scouting.
And multitasking. It's actually terrifying.
Yes, the multitasking was what got me. I was pretty confident with our semi-final after my first push that I had slowed down his resource production considerably. And looking at the timelines after the game, he barely took a hit from all of my harassing when it came to his resources.
He always seems to have a backup plan.
Yeah, he must have been building in behind the back there, something that I was looking forward to seeing in the replay. As we see this first fight unfolding, his infantry is ready to go. His cavalry have gone after your archers at the back there.
Very good of him. I've sent my spearmen to deal with his cavalry, but it didn't do anything.
Those early knights that we were talking about, taking the extra hits from the spearmen, basically got to double up on your spearmen to take out the Ruse's early knights.
It's very scary. And then, if not just spearmen, you want to get some crossbowmen out as well, who do more damage against armored units. Let's take a look at the crossbowmen. I often forget about the crossbowmen, so I really need to utilize them more. They're anti-armor specialists.
Yes, with slightly less range. Is that the downside?
Ooh, high damage, ranged units, best against armor targets, anti-armor specialists, low health. So they've got low health.
Lower health.
I think they've got a longer reload time.
Slightly slower with lower health, but stronger.
I forget about them a lot, and it really costs me because archers, a group of archers, does not do much against a group of heavy cavalry. Still building the wall. Got to get that wall done because I know Risky Boy, he's going to be poking.
Claiming about a quarter of the map there, including the neutral market corps. So that's definitely something that you'll be able to utilize to your advantage, getting that trade going as well. And one of the sacred sites just outside the wall, not getting too greedy, knows that you can build a force up behind it and go out there and claim it pretty easy.
Look at this as well. Notice the coverage he's got out. Risky Boy has archers spread out across the map between my base and his, ready to intercept anything of mine that may come through. And if it's villagers, do some damage.
That's really well done. You know, this is vision. This is RTS advanced tactics right here. This is vision control. So it's not just discovering and exploring the map to see where resources are, but keeping the fog of war away from your base by having all your units scattered around like that, leaving no sneaky routes for Corbs to get his guys in behind you. Really good play there by Risky. And using the archers, as you said, gives him the chance to do some damage.
I think as well, he's also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I also think that in his mind, these feudal age units he's prepared that were used to counter me are now at this point expendable as he's now heading to the castle age. These units, you know, they will do some recon, they might do some damage, but at the end of the day, he doesn't need them anymore because moving to the castle age, he's probably going to be moving towards more cavalry and siege units. That would, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the train of thought.
Yeah, so a couple of stables going in there with some archery, and then another economic landmark. So really pushing those bounty bonuses and other economic advantages to the Rus while building up that cavalry, like you said. And a good point you make about the first wave of infantry being expendable after that initial battle. You've always got to keep some troops at home. That's exactly where I went wrong in my match against Risky Boy. So after that first battle, send the first army out there, let them explore, let them see what's going on while you're rebuilding your army back at base. So that way you're exploring, you're protecting your area, your turf, at the same time as still building up an army which can defend back at base. So a really good strategy again by Risky Boy, showing us the advanced tips.
You've got to have something prepared because you never know when a flank is coming. And also, just before we get too carried away, hello Hulk Bogan, hello Stan Frosty. I see you get there in the chat. Yes, my famous fast walling up and ready to go to stop the Ruse's aggressive advance. We're both in the castle age now. Want to become famous? Buy followers and viewers on bigfollows.com. That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Oh, that's my friend.
How do I send them to the abyss?
I can probably get it. I'm a mod. I can see it there. Get rid of them.
Legend.
Too easy, mate.
Get out of here.
A couple of siege workshops getting built just outside of Corb's vision, I believe, here, from his...
You're absolutely right. I think he may have taken something from your book, and he wants to control the center.
He wants to control the center, yeah. Now, I'm curious, because I've noticed this a couple of times in some streams. Now, I'm looking from Corb's perspective, and his buildings are just out in the fog of war there, but you can actually see the bricks on the grass, and I'm wondering, Corbs, if you might have actually been able to see that there was something being built there.
I think I just saw the night. I don't think I actually could see that in the game. I think...
Yes.
Interesting.
I have noticed on stream that sometimes you can... There's a... You know, the little insight into... Oh, there's a building just outside there. Because the paths and other such things around the buildings tend to change the environment. And you can see the environment through the fog of war. So... Not sure if that's something that they'll be looking at patching out. We remember that we are only a couple of weeks into the release of the game. But yeah, some very interesting there.
That's absolutely right, Stan Frosty, and that's something we've definitely been badgering Risky Boy about, is that, yeah, would 100%, I would have rather see that hunting cabin over here, next to the trees, and more of them. If you can, I've seen a lot of Ruse players, they will go to town. They will build hunting cabins out near forests, near all hunting locations to really go nuts. Oh, the landmark one. The landmark one. Ah.
The high trade house.
So the trade house as well generates gold like a hunting cabin with the value increased by 200%. Ah, I've seen this is... I have not caught this as well, that the high trade house also needs to be near forest. I've always put it out in the open just so I can see the deer that get spawned every 60 seconds for people to spawn. So there, I better take some notes down as well.
Yeah, this is good tips for me too. Having not tried the ruse yet, having a bit of insight before my first attempt is definitely going to help me out. But the deer, spawning the deer are some of the fastest way to actually get food. So having the capacity to spawn your own deer, what was it? Every minute.
Every minute a deer spawns.
That's some quick food production out of that building right there. You put a couple of villages on that landmark in the middle of a forest, and you've got food, you've got wood, you've got gold, all in one spot.
And they're getting bounties for every deer they kill.
Yeah,
so if you haven't reached tier 3 yet, you're gonna get to tier 3 if you keep those hunters going. Oh, I'm making a push out with my horsemen, not knights, just horsemen. So light cavalry, bullying the scout.
The light cavalry are great for taking out infantry. They're great for getting around the map nice and fast if you just have them by yourself. That's one of the things when you grab a big group of military units and you move them together, they go at the pace of the slowest unit. But if you grab a bunch of cavalry and send them off, they'll go much faster, I find, and it's a good way to get around and take out some infantry.
I have seen some people make that mistake where they've been wanting to go back up their teammate that's getting attacked, but they're sending their whole force together with siege units. So they're only moving as fast as the siege units, and they don't get there in time.
Yep, you got to send those cavalry ahead to get there, and you can take advantage of their speed and go slightly around to the side or something and come in from a good angle, you know, but you do have to get there quick and sometimes, and those cavalry are really good for that. So that's where I find the French and the Ruse can really get around the bigger maps and the open maps and take advantage of the cavalry speed.
Here we go. Myself, and Risky Boy is looking for my light cavalry, but they're hiding in the cheeky trees. Until we find a better name, I'm going to call these stealth forests the cheeky trees.
The cheeky trees.
Interesting choice here. We have a Mangonel sieging the watchtower. Now, the Mangonels are very good. They fire multiple projectiles, dealing damage in an area, effective against mass units. They got to be set on fire by infantry, but they're not that good at dealing damage to buildings.
They're not weak at dealing damage to buildings though, like the anti-siege that you were talking about.
That's right.
Before. They're average damage to buildings. A good balanced unit.
Definitely better than those cannons or Springwalds. Springwalds?
Yeah.
Springwalds? But they do not hold a candle to the trebuchets.
No, definitely not to the trebuchets or the bombard cannons that you can get later in the game as well.
This is quite devious of Risky Boy. Sending out an innocent prelate to gather a relic, getting mowed down by some cavalry. Another war crime, but you know, who am I to judge? I'm just here to commentate on the facts. Speaking of the devil, and he shall appear, the trebuchet has entered the field.
Very aggressive positioning of those siege workshops there, but still bringing in the rest of the units from back at base. So just basically builds a siege unit and just sets up and starts unloading on your walls straight away.
Risky Boy loves to poke with siege to, this is where your attention will now be. Meanwhile, he's also gathering here, holding a sacred site. He's still scouting. He's still keeping an eye on the other sacred sites. He doesn't want me getting those sacred sites or relics.
Yes, he's got a scout placed on one sacred site and a considerable force of knights placed at the other one there. So the scouts have a really good field of view as well. They can see a lot further. So I often do this actually, and I'll create a few scouts and I'll put them at points that I think the enemy could come from. As you see, Corbs coming in with a counterattack against these siege workshops from 3 angles at once. The cavalry have come in from the right, the infantry have come in from the south, and the trebuchets further south smashing the buildings as well. Corbs with a big power play here to push back this early advance.
Seeing that siege camp, I figured I better deal with that. I do not want him controlling the middle. The Ruse already have enough mobility. I do not want him holding this point. Not happening. Not happening. More villagers being murdered. More war crimes. More war crimes. We'll see you at the
villagers can fight back.
The Geneva Convention will... Oh, no! Countering my siege units with his cavalry. The infantry running back. But they're also being chased by cavalry. This is not a good time for my army.
Well, those siege units trying to get a little bit of shelter in the stealth forest. They've come out of it unscathed, or relatively unscathed, aside from the middle one there on about 10% health.
Oh.
But
stealth battering rams coming in as well. It's a pincer attack.
The stealth battering rams sneaking in.
This unit, this group being wiped. These trebuchets praying that they will not be seen. I believe it may be too late.
The speed of the cavalry. If they notice those trebuchets, they will get run down. Absolutely. Can they make it back in time?
They see me rolling.
He hasn't. The knights haven't noticed the trebuchets.
They have
They've
not.
Gotten away. They've gotten away.
Because he's looking at the rams.
He's looking at the sneaky rams. 600 wood there on rams just takes the distraction play. But there's probably about 1,000 resources invested in each of those trebuchets, if I'm not mistaken. So
they add up, man. They bloody add up.
Better to lose a couple of rams than the 3 trebuchets.
And you can see me struggling with the resources. Well, Risky Boy is ahead in everything, pretty much everything, except for stone, because let's face it, the Roos don't really need to focus on stone, as they can't build stone walls. They can get some stone to upgrade their towers and stuff, but Risky Boy, I don't think I've seen him build a single Kremlin or anything like that, which is a Roos unique building. Let's find that. It is the Wooden Fortress. It's unique to the Roos. It's a defensive building. A sturdy wooden stronghold with an extensive line of sight. Can be upgraded with weapon emplacements and used as a garrison in case of attack. So they're better than your average watchtower. And if you put them near lumber camps, they actually buff the lumber camp so that 20% more wood is returned. Not bad.
Yeah. So perfect for maps like Black Forest. You put a little outpost next to your lumber camp on the edge of your choke point, and 20% bonus wood, while getting a stronger defense than you would get from your average outpost. Definitely a cool building that, as you said, not getting utilized there by Risky.
Look, not that Risky really needs them, but another top tip, apart from the hunting cabin, is, if you've got a main lumber camp, like this one, that's your main source of wood, chuck a wooden fortress just next to it, get a bit of a bonus. Then you can use that excess wood and sell it at the market for other stuff you need. I really don't want to give him more ammunition, but I feel like I'd be a bad sport if I didn't. So, look, I'm going to regret it.
And it's easy for us to say this, but Dry Arabia, it is so scarce for trees. Even with all of this in mind, he's not going to be able to get much in such a big open map with so few trees.
Oh, that's right. You know? Left alone, he could easily dry up the entire map of all trees. A true menace to society. Fern Gully called, and they're scared of Risky Boy.
Now, and as you should be at the moment, quite a mass of an army assembling at about that 10 o'clock mark on the map there.
I think at this point I've decided, look, he's got a bit of mobility. I'm gonna need knights. Because just while I can counter his cavalry with my spearmen and crossbowmen, he can just avoid them. So I'm gonna need knights to stop him in his tracks or put them where I want him to be.
Now that harassment from the trebuchets you mentioned, it just sort of constantly pinging your map there. He's actually snuck a massive force in just above that. So, you know, you think there's nothing going on up there. It's just the trebuchet attacking the wall as it has been for 10 minutes. But really, he's snuck a huge force of cavalry in behind.
44 knights in my land at this point. And that is probably the most annoying part of versing Risky Boy, is that you have constant pings of that, exactly what we said. You've got trebuchets, single trebuchets attacking you from all sides, and you've constantly got pings.
Yeah, so it's like you don't know sometimes if you can ignore the ping or if you need to be going and checking it out, but you can't waste time checking out every ping every time a trebuchet attacks a different block of the wall.
Sometimes I miss attacks like this.
Knights, I thought they were just going to run straight through those farms, but the infantry stays behind to attack the villages while the Knights continue into Corb's base here, going for his houses, weakening the population potentially. And the villagers splitting them up. He's getting the Knights attacking a little bit of everything here. Corb's cavalry coming in to counter-attack with the spearmen as well, and some crossbowmen behind the back dealing with those Knights, as you said, but the extra armor-piercing damage with the crossbows. Let's see who gets the best out of this little fight situation.
See, I was starting to feel a bit confident dealing with this group, but then here comes the rest of it.
Come through. Yes. Oh, risky. Big push here.
And these crossbowmen are already dead. They just don't know it.
Oh, absolutely.
They're getting some support from the keep, or the town center, I should say.
Now, Risky still with nearly 40-odd units in your base right now.
Look, this was not a good time. This was not a good time for me. Trying desperately to gather some troops to counterattack.
Oh, down to 38 villages, Corbs. A man of many villages at most times of the game. You know, I've seen you have over 80.
This was certainly a moment I did consider surrendering at this point. I strongly considered surrendering.
Yeah, so sometimes I get torn with that. You know, should I surrender and give credit to my opponent, or should I stretch it out as long as I can, try and build a sneaky town center in the corner somewhere while they hunt me down, rebuild from scratch, you know? But surrendering sometimes is the more sportsmanlike.
That's right. Coming from a chess background, it was definitely. You know, we were definitely taught, you know, you want to try and win. You want to try your best and recover as best you can, but sometimes it takes a very wise and educated player to realize when they've thought ahead and they have determined that there is 100% no chance of recovering, and they end it right then and there rather than waste their opponent's time. Big balls to do anything like that. Mad respect. It's not an easy choice, but sometimes you just got to accept that you played well. They played better. And at this point, I did consider building a secondary town center, but knowing Risky Boy and being the ruse and an open map, I knew he would find it.
And I wasn't really noticing exactly how, but you managed to force those units off.
Little by little.
Of the keep, and perhaps maybe some better micromanagement of the units there. I mean, Risky sending them in, saying, they'll do what they can. And once again, considering that first wave to be expendable, I probably could have pulled him back and saved some of his units, but Corb's still alive. The last little breath of hope.
An act of, a very naughty act by Risky Boy here. He's put some of his archers on my wall. Just as an insult.
How did they get up there?
I don't know, but I did not like them just standing casually on my wall. I was aware of them for the longest time, and I did not appreciate it.
Did he build one of those, like, what are those walls? That,
siege tower?
The siege tower, yeah.
Nope.
Did he build a siege tower?
Nope.
How did they get up there?
I don't know. I don't know how they got up there.
Yeah, Risky, tell us, how did those archers get there?
They're pissing off my wall. Off my wall.
Trebuchets are still harassing. Did they just take out a landmark? Was that one of your landmarks, Corpse?
They took out my monastery, which is crippled. I had some resources coming in thanks to that relic, but he's cut that off. He's cut it off, and he's also cutting off my traders.
You're taking those cavalry back away from the keep there to save them. That's good micromanagement of his units, not letting them get too invested in what they're doing.
So we just heard from Frosty and Spikes that units on the inside of your wall can go up through your gate onto the wall.
Okay. Interesting. So
very naughty.
Inside they can get through. Okay.
Naughty. And you see how I've built some keeps just to try and hold the perimeter, because as far as I know, he is all around me. All around me! Let's take a look at what Risky's got going. Still chipping through some gold veins. Holding on to some relics. Make sure I don't grab them. Archer's still, graffitiing my wall. And some ongoing siege from the cheeky trees.
He is constantly harassing. I'm noticing 3 or more pings at a time in different locations on the map there. Just constantly getting harassed by Risky at some point on the map. Down goes a keep.
Yes, but down goes the cavalry, and now onto the trebuchets. A small price to pay for salvation.
So this is just good. This is just good unit management. Corps selecting the right units to counter the different waves that are coming in from Risky. Continuing to keep producing his units and not slack off on the villages, not to slack off on the military, just producing and producing. Obviously, you'll be on top of your upgrades as well there, Corps, to be able to win some of those fights.
Oh, that's the greatest thing about the Holy Roman Empire. Having this, the Mindwerk Palace, with the 25% less cost for research. I love to have those researchers pumping at all times. Gives the Holy Roman Empire a little bit of an edge.
Yes,
Very
particularly
handy.
strong infantry with the Holy Roman Empire. Yeah, so all of the infantry are just slightly tougher. Is that correct?
Well, they do get the unique upgrades to the men-at-arms, and they get the Landsknecht. Landsknecht, if I'm even pronouncing that right. But the downside is here, because I know I'm versing the ruse, those units will get absolutely wrecked by cavalry archers. So I'm mainly focusing on spearmen and crossbowmen. So I'm not able to fully effectively use the Holy Roman Empire's unique infantry. I was really hoping to hold out in my fort, but he just made a hole and he just keeps coming.
He does. He just keeps sending more and more through, just little bit at a time, little bit at a time. I'm wondering if he's thinking to start setting up a secondary base to get aggressive from up there, much like he did with this siege station in the middle of the map, or what is
He hasn't returned to the siege camp, but bombards are starting to enter the field.
I did see that coming up out of his base there, a few big cannons, and again, look at that big farm around the town center there, massive farms.
That is some serious farming.
Town center, yeah, lots of sheep there as well, only a couple of villages on the sheep.
But I don't understand how this happened. Even though he's in age 4, we are 40 minutes into the game. I don't understand. Risky Boy is not at tier 2 or 3 of the bounties yet. He's doing a tremendous job, but getting on top of those hunting cabins and the bounties, he's going to be even more deadly. We are actually making him more powerful as we speak. Look at all these deer ready to be killed. That's more bounty coming up.
I was wondering about the sheep as well. The sheep would be considered as hunting, would they not? So some of those villages, perhaps instead of being on farms, could be on sheep and getting a little bit more from that. And the deer, yeah, as you said, there's about 9 deer just standing around idle. They pump out another deer every, 2 more off to the side there. They pump out an extra deer every minute out of that landmark. So definitely could utilize a few more villages on the deer to get food.
We've still got sheep.
Yeah, to get those sheep, get those deer, build up that bounty while getting the resources that you need, like the food resources. So yeah, definitely could find a bit stronger economy there.
Hey, that's all right, Risky. You're still doing very well, all things considered. I'm a little bit scared for when you're at full power, full strength, when you're on top of the bounty and the hunting cabins. It certainly spells doom for all of us.
Yes,
so we will enjoy the time until you learn how to do that better.
The harassment, considering that you're not even getting the most out of the unique buildings, and you are definitely getting the most out of these unique knights, though, the early knights, taking advantage of them and constantly harassing with the knights.
Now, while we have here, I'm going to reveal the whole map. Risky has a big army coming in from the top here, but desperate measures, again, call for desperate times. Light horsemen, ready to counterattack, hopefully his resources, along with a group of spearmen and some bombards of my own. With one hand with a shield, I will defend myself, while my other hand shall attack. Oh, and a regiment of infantry supported by prelates coming up. Crossbowmen and spearmen ready to die, to fight and die for the Holy Roman Empire. And stop the Ruse invaders.
Did the prelates give any unique Holy Roman Empire buffs to their infantry and such? That
I do recall an upgrade at the monastery where you can upgrade it that the prelates will inspire military units for, I believe, attack speed.
An attack speed buff, nice.
I don't mind having some prelates backing up my infantry, just to give them that little bit of extra oomph, and to heal in between fights. Bit of healing goes a long way.
A bit of healing
if they don't die.
One of my favorite features of the longbowmen as well, actually, the ability to set up camp as it is. They create a little fireplace right near them, which heals them within a certain radius, and they can all set up these camps. So if you have a big row of longbowmen, they can stand on a ridge, constantly firing down while getting health buffs from their own camps. As you see Corbs' army, including those bombards, taking out the defensive landmark, really quickly taking it down to half health there. Infantry pulling back, letting the bombards do the damage.
Spearmen.
And the spearmen straight for the cavalry. That's exactly what you want to see. That's great micromanagement from Corbs. Utilizing the correct units against each other. The siege is still attacking the building. The spearmen take the cavalry from the side, while the crossbowmen standing safely at the back. Really good micromanagement.
Race against time here, because while I have managed to destroy one of his landmarks, another one of my landmarks has just been destroyed. My Regnitz Cathedral has just been destroyed back at home. Cavalry are in my town again. Bombards. Oh, but this is where I countered the bombards with my light cavalry coming in from the side, putting a stop to the siege, slowing down the attack ever so slightly.
I was just about to credit Risky for doing this very similar thing, managing his units effectively, having the siege attack the buildings while the knights attack, but some of his cavalry is attacking random, unimportant buildings here, instead of targeting the landmarks, perhaps. And those knights that you sent through, no, it was the light cavalry.
Light cavalry.
Heading around the back to take out the siege. Again, Corbs, I think that's really good micromanagement on the offensive, attacking his base, and also on the defensive to send the correct units back at the good angle to defend your own base at the same time. Really good stuff there.
I wasn't counting on them surviving, but I knew they could get around his cavalry and destroy the siege equipment, buying me a little bit of time. They completed their mission, and I can't fault them for that.
Yeah, I'm not liking the looks of this for your villagers. They are, I see you're having a look at as you're taking over Spike's base here, tearing apart his villages at his farm, definitely knocking down his landmarks as well. Everybody's doing a solid effort. It's looks like you've pushed his base really hard here, Corbs. And
trying to hit. At this point, I was just really wanting to hit his villages, slow him down. I've taken out his town center, which is another landmark. And then I realize one landmark to go.
One go. You know, there's nobody home. There's one landmark to go. I'm thinking you're in trouble. All your villages are dead, but he's got idle units standing around your base and others attacking farms instead of landmarks. So just a little bit loose in the end of the game here by Risky after such harassment early on in the game. I thought you were done, Corbs.
Oh, I apologize. Maybe there is one more landmark. It's not a victory yet.
There is one more somewhere. Where is it? Oh, of course, the hunting cabin, the high trade house.
Oh, of course, yes. So now it is one landmark of Risky Boys left to go, while I still have my town center, Mindwerk Palace, and my... What is that? That's the Ellersbach Palace, all still operational. All he's got is his cavalry to deal damage to the buildings, which they won't go far against the town center and the keep. While I'm holding on for dear life. I've got one bombard cannon left. I've built it, the old faithful, the old battering ram. To reinforce.
I'm out of siege. Quickly build another siege unit in the middle of the fight. That's how you do it.
Cavalry coming in to counter, but will they get there in time?
They are.
They're trying to get to my bombard, but the crossbowmen. That's right. He's going for the cannon, but the battering ram is still going strong.
Just chunking away at the last.
And that's all it takes.
That one extra battering ram, he actually took out the siege before the building went down. He nearly had you. He nearly defended it. Just a moment too late. That battering ram play. Oh my gosh.
You gotta respect the battering ram. The battering ram in the right place at the right time makes all the difference.
Absolutely epic idea to chuck that extra battering ram down at the end, Corbs. If he hadn't have done that, I think he might have actually saved that last landmark.
He very well. If I had not have done that, he very well could have repelled my force and come back with a vengeance. As I say, desperate times call for desperate measures. So that was a victory to myself. Here's the timeline. Clutch play with Risky Boy holding the high point of the leaderboard, the timeline here for most of it, until I managed to do a fight on two fronts. It's not over until it's over.
Yeah, that's rough. It really does look like about the 35-minute mark he was ready to go that fight. Well, it doesn't look like it was too one-sided, but the recovery, it was at that point you continued to recover very strong, and it seems that Risky was just a little bit slow on the recovery. Maybe he did what I did to him and he thought he had you. He got a little bit cozy with his harassment, thinking, I've slowed him down enough, I think I've got this one, and just didn't quite put the pressure up.
and you know, with me taking anti-siege, that would have really been a bad time for him. So, but look, I had to do something. The amount of pressure I had on me that entire game was really scary. That was a very scary game for me to play, and I cannot believe that I pulled it off. Risky Boy, well bloody played. Even though you haven't won, you have been the runner-up for the first casual Kult Age of Empires 4 1v1 tournament. Very well played. Very well played. It just goes to show here, look at the score. He had a slightly higher score, so we were neck and neck there. And if I had not pulled out those plays, that would have been it. But I'm like Spikes has said, am I going to treat myself to the Age of Empires shop? No, I've thought about it, but no, I don't think I will be buying myself some merch, as tempting as it is. I have offered Risky Boy to get him a prize, as in my eyes he's a winner, but he has politely declined, and he's happy to take part in the next tournament. And hey, if he wins legitimately there, you're getting a bloody prize whether you want to or not. But
absolutely, I think, yeah, Risky Boy, solid effort to get through to that final there. Like, the victory against me was a huge comeback, and I feel like you had Corbs, you had him, you just had to go for the throat in the final age.
A little more siege, and oh no. Look at that economy over mine. Everything except stone. Naturally, the Holy Roman Empire get a bit of a increase of speed for technology. Society, smack bang, there.
And another super close match where the scores are very close, rather than having by the end of the game one side, you know, being a clear victor with score because they've annihilated everything. Anybody could have won that. It really came down to unit placement, timing, how quickly you were able to react to where people were all of a sudden appearing with their forces. And that was just a really, really good all-round game, and a super close match. Yeah, anybody could have had that. Both the games, actually. And Corbs, I gotta say, I feel like you kind of got lucky there. Like, Spikes and Risky both had you early on in the game.
A cheeky wonder victory, and then managed to break through and hit the landmarks. But in this game, you've gotta use everything you can to get an advantage, because often in custom games against randoms, they show no mercy.
No mercy. Absolutely.
It's terrifying. Now, but it's truly been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed watching everyone else's games, taking part myself, and I hope everyone else that's taking part has had a lot of fun and had a little bit of excitement with it. It's got the stakes are high and all that. But look, that was just the first trial run. We'll do another one very soon, which will be over a few weeks, so everyone's got time to mix it in with their life and responsibilities. And gonna open it up to any randoms, any members of the public online that want to partake as well. So make sure you keep an eye on that in the Discord and in the Kult Battlefy. We'll be doing that. But I want to give a massive shout out to, not only everyone that played. We've got Frosty, Spikes, Marsley, 77, Risky Boy, Mac. But then another extra special thanks to Mac for joining me with the commentary on this. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, that's okay, mate. It's absolutely my pleasure. I'm stoked to be here, and I've been a big fan of Age of Empires for ages, and I honestly just happy that you honored even that you offered me to jump on and do this with you. So thanks for having me. And as you said, shout out to everybody that participated. It was super fun. All the games were really really good, and I'm looking forward to the next one and seeing how it goes down, and looking forward to being back on the casting team with you as well.
Oh, 100%. And then, we would definitely love to play in the next tournament, so we are open to anyone else that wants to jump in and do some casting. We will try and make that work so that Mac and I can play as well. But like I said, if worst comes to us, I'm happy to, at the very least, myself sit out so that I at least can be observing games, and then Mac can jump in and commentate when he can. So, look, we will figure it out. This is an ongoing process, but thank you all so much for helping me commentate, playing, and all of you that have watched this, and I hope you've had a lot of fun and learnt a lot.